So, a few years ago, I stumbled across this amazing video. And immediately after, I saw this. So I had 3 questions. Who is that? How is she doing that? And how can I learn how to do that? My YouTube recommendations became filled with videos by her, and to my surprise, she was holding a nylon string guitar in most of them. And that's when my mind really started to be blown. Her name is Badi Assad, and she's a monster guitar player who also sings and incorporates body percussion into her music. Now, I had seen other people use body percussion as a musical instrument before, like the incredible Bobby McFerrin. I had also seen other artists improvise with their voice while playing the guitar. The great Raúl Midón comes to mind here. But I had never seen anybody do all 3 at the same time, probably because it is ridiculously hard. So I started looking for places where I could learn how she does what she does. And she actually has her own YouTube channel, which is pretty active. Link to that in the description below. Unfortunately, most of her videos are in Portuguese, but I do actually happen to speak Portuguese though, so I learned a couple of things. For example, how she used a drumstick to turn a simple guitar into this incredible 12-string multi-timbre harp-like instrument.
Aí eu afinei, eu descobri uma afinação que eu curti. Descobri o traste que eu curti. E com essa ideia aqui a gente divide o violão em 2 partes. Agora eu não tenho mais 6 notas, eu tenho 12. E também tenho 2 timbres diferentes. Do lado direito é esse timbre aqui, ó. E do lado esquerdo.
And actually, the way that she plays guitar here really reminds me of the Zimbabwean Mbira tradition or the broader African Kalimba tradition. But even more enlightening was her interview with guitarist and YouTuber Marcos Kaiser, which is also linked in the description and also, unfortunately, only available in Portuguese.
Eu comecei a apresentar minha banda. Senhoras e senhores, na mão direita, a violonista. Que harmônico virou uma coisa que eu dou aula de harmônico, né? Senhoras e senhores, na mão esquerda, a contrabaixista. Percussionista. E a cantora?
She explains how she layers on different instruments played by different parts of her body, and also how difficult it was to be able to achieve this. It took her years to build up the independence required for this. But this was still not enough for me. I wanted to know not only how she practiced, but specifically how to achieve those incredible effects that she does. And then it hit me. I run the guitar portion of the greatest music education platform on the web. Thank you, Tonebase, by the way, for sponsoring this by giving me a job. More about them later. So in this position, I have a couple of aces up my sleeve. So I thought, what if I flew her in all the way from Brazil to Los Angeles just to learn from her? Would she go for that? And well, there's only one way to find out. As it turns out, her big brother is legendary composer and guitarist Sergio Assad, who already wrote a series of 10 progressive etudes or sketches for Tonebase. So I had my colleague hit him up and ask for her contact details. And what do you know, she agreed to hop on a WhatsApp call with me. And then this happened. So, do you think it would be possible for you to fly all the way out to LA and record some lessons on these topics that we've been discussing? I was just on the phone with Badi, and she said that she's willing to fly 6,000 miles just to record with us. And then another 6,000 miles, of course, to go back. So probably a total of 12,000 miles just in order to share her wisdom and her inspiration with us. I mean, this is incredible. I'm so incredibly excited, and I can't wait to see what comes out of these lessons. Okay, it's the day before Badi's recording, and we settled on 3 things we're going to be working on. A lesson on harmonics and how she practices them, how she achieves them, how she incorporates them into her music. A lesson on these crazy percussion effects that she achieves on the guitar. And the thing that I'm most excited about, an interview with her about her beginning, her journey, her inspiration, and where she finds it. I'm so excited to be recording all of these things with her. Quick ad break. Now, because Tonebase is paying for her trip, the full-length videos on percussion and harmonics are only going to be available on Tonebase behind a paywall. But if you want to watch some of my favorite highlights from them, stick around until the end of this video. And also, if you do want to check out the full-length videos, you can sign up for a free 2-week trial and watch those as well as thousands of other lessons by hundreds of other artists. Back to the regular video now. Okay. So let's finally hear from Badi herself about how she got started on this journey that led her to become one of the world's most inspiring artists. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Badi Assad, straight from Tonebase HQ.
So when I started to play the guitar, it's very interesting because until I was 14, I spent my entire childhood with my father doing anything for my brothers to become professional musicians. And he would never pay attention on me, for real. So when I was 14, we moved far from my brothers. It was time my brothers were starting to travel, and my father wanted to be back in our town in the countryside of São Paulo. So when we got to this town, my father had nobody to play his mandolin with. So he looked at this girl, me, and said, "Would you like to play with me?" And all I wanted was to be close to my dad and have those eyes of admiration that he used to have towards my brother. So I said, yes. So I left to say that I started playing guitar for love, not to the guitar music, but for my father. But anyway, so I'm telling this whole story just to say that in my eyes, I wanted to be like my brothers, to be close to dad. And luckily, when I started playing the guitar, I had the skills and I had the talent and this inspiration. So my first steps were to follow my brothers. But when I started doing competitions, the natural path, until one point I realized music, classical music is not I'm not content with classical music, because classical music, in my point of view, was very restricted, in the sense I have to be following the score, especially for competition. How more truthful to the score I am, better I am. And I felt different, but I couldn't do different, because if I do different, I would not be good in the competition. So I started having these different dialogues, internal dialogues, and until one moment, I was selected to represent Brazil in a festival, a guitar competition in Chile, in Viña del Mar. And I hurt my hand. Another time, accidents made another detour. So that time I hurt my right hand. And I had to stop. And I was like, oh, what now? And is this what's supposed for me to do? I took that as a sign. Like my body, I couldn't stop myself with the path I was going, but I was not content. But my body stopped in me. So I started reevaluating, what want I do? What do I have as love? So I love to sing, and I love to dance. My first desire as a little girl was to become a dancer. So around my 20s, I started to have like vocal lessons, something that I haven't done before. And I was invited to record my first album, which I called Sergio to be the producer, and it was an LP called Dança dos Tons, 89. And in that release, all the musicians, because Sergio knew all these musicians that was living in São Paulo by the time, came into the concert. They performed. So there was a drummer for one piece playing percussion on Saudade No. 3 by Roland Dians, or Prelude Tocatina by Sergio. The guy was playing tabla. And other songs, a flautist on another song, etc. They all came to the concert, and I was happy. But then that was it. They came to the release of the album. That was me, just this guitar player, solo artist. And I started my career. After 5 months, I would have my first concert. And I said, what am I going to do without? I don't have a band. Drama, totally. So I said, okay, hold on. The flute, I can do the flute with my voice. The melody wasn't that hard, so I substitute the flute. Playing that very intricate guitar, and I was singing the flute line. This other song, come on, it was a wood block. I can do that with my tongue. Very hard to coordinate with that guitar. So I remember making a cymbal for, and writing on top of all these notes when I was doing one sound and other, so I could help myself. And then when I realized, okay, that sound, the guy was playing like carrilhão in Portuguese, I don't know in English, but those, very typical instrument, like the percussionist does. I said, no, I miss that sound here. So no doubt, I put something like this, and I start hanging instruments. And that was the moment where I stopped playing guitar like this, because until then I was a classical guitar player. I dropped it. I started playing like this in my right, because I could like bang those instruments with my knee while I was playing, so those songs were there. And I went nuts, because I can reproduce the album just by myself, and start doing it. And one song, and then I opened my vision for mouth percussion, and I started to realize that I could sing and do mouth percussion simultaneously. One song that I was doing was we playing the guitar. So, okay, my mouth is also percussion. I know I can play the note. I can play the neck. I was going nuts. So I created a concert. And I remember this day. Sergio came to visit me. And I was like, Sergio, come to see what I'm doing. I was for like 5 months not even leaving my room because I was so excited with this discoveries. And Sergio comes and I put my hanging percussion and I do my thing. And when finished the set, I never forget this scene. I look at Sergio, and you know the cartoons when like the eyes are big and the mouth drops and the tongue does like that. And Sergio did that, and oh, what do you think? And he said, wow, I've never seen anybody doing that, but it's good. Are you going to be brave to do that on the stage? Yeah, so go for it. So I started doing like theatrical lessons and dance lessons. So I expanded all my horizons because I just had so much inside of me. But I knew that techniques, it was the bridge to lead to my personal freedom. Because I had all that background as a classical guitar player, very trained, I could start exploring, and I start coming with like my left hand can play this while my right hand can play a shaker. And okay, I can sing on top of that. And I start thinking as a drummer more than a guitar player. I was spreading like an octopus, like doing all of this. And I realized soon in my career that what I was offering was so different, especially in Brazil. Because when I came to America with my first release in 94, I was presenting this. Brazil would not even listen to. I went to like independent labels, they didn't want to talk to me. But this American company, Chesky Records, said, okay, sign here. And I was recording for them. But I remember clearly my first GFA presentation. I was middle 20s, doing all my stuff. And I remember, I'm not sure which state was that, maybe Florida. So like, I don't know, 400, 500 people. And in the middle of like 10 minutes in my performance, 10 people, elder people, stood up and left. And I remember crossing my mind right there, say, oh, wait, they are not liking what I'm doing. But come on, 400 people stayed. So am I going to pay attention in those who left or those 400 that stayed? So I was young, but I was mature that say, we cannot please everybody. So when I had that as a truth for me, doesn't matter. I have to be truthful with what I want to do. And who resonates with this and are open for this, these are my public. I don't have to conquer that public. So my public is going to find me. And it has been since then. I became this original person and with a lot of creative mind. And this is what led, until today, guitar festivals call me because I can bring something outside of the traditional guitar approach. Some songs I stick a drumstick under the strings, or I do so much with the guitar and music itself because I incorporate the voice and I sing, and my body is a whole presentation. I don't stay behind the instrument. My whole body engaged to the scene. And the interpretation became a huge portion of where my focus is.
And indeed, creativity radiates from every fiber of Badi's being. In fact, she composed an entire harmonics etude in front of us and just for us in order to teach us how to practice harmonics at home.
Already starts to create a cool effect because you're changing notes and combining the harmonic and open string, and I can go up.
Now let's hear what she has to say about how to turn our own guitars into percussion instruments.
Of course, we have all these strings, but we also have all this beautiful wood. And if you think as a percussion, of course, if you turn it down, you forget about the woods. So if you, in your lifetime, had an experience of having one percussion lesson, you can transcribe that to the guitar. If you have the guitar like this, have you done this? You just don't have just one sound. If you knock around, all of it is different, right? Found where the bass note of your guitar is. His guitar is around here. It may change. Usually it's towards this area, but may change depending on your guitar. So here, so this is the bass. And if you hit with you have one sound. If you do this, you have a totally different sound, right? If you do this here, it has one sound. If you do this here, it has a different sound. If you play just with your index, and if you go to the side of the guitar, it has even a higher pitch. If you like a little body percussion, you can mix. All this kind of fun. So, now you have a guitar and a percussion simultaneously. So how you do that? Okay, so let's start with tambora, which is some very cool effect. I would do with an F chord here. So you have, first of all, to find a nice position where you can rest your arm closer to here, so your hands, it's facing this part of the guitar where the bass sound is. So you have to think as a strike. When you see the frame percussion players, which is the round thing, so they really hit this part of the thumb. It's a slap, right? It's a slap. You can practice out of the guitar. See, you can hear? Very loose arm. Very hard on the point. You can hit somebody with this. Bah! So you take that approach and very fast. So if you hit the guitar, and it's cool when you have open strings too, because it resonates, right? Wow. And you can control the volume. So if you wanna not so much volume, you have to hit less, and I can improve, and you are going to see that the range of my movement, it goes wilder as I want more volume. So starting. So the part of your hand that hits the guitar is pretty much around here. Okay? And you can play with the volume, so it's strong and not so strong. And I'm creating creating the effect of the dynamic is creating a rhythm itself. Different than I just go. Right? And I'm going to change where I put the strong, and I'm going to shift the rhythm. Now I combine the two rhythms.
Alright everybody, thank you for watching this video and sticking with me all the way to the end. As mentioned, the full-length videos on both harmonics and percussion on the guitar are available on the Tonebase website, and you can sign up for a free 2-week trial at the link in the description below. There are also links to every other bit of material that was featured in this video, including Badi's recordings and her interviews with Marcos Kaiser and the videos on her own YouTube channel. Go give them a follow, especially if you speak Portuguese, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. See you around the web and keep practicing.